Whether your old turbocharger is failing or you simply want more power, ATS Diesel's Aurora 3000 turbocharger kit makes for an excellent performance upgrade over stock. This complete turbocharger assembly from ATS Diesel can add up to 30 horsepower to your truck's output and spools faster than the factory turbocharger, but at the same time won't push your truck to critical braking points. Removing the factory turbo starts by unbolting the coolant tank and its overflow lines. Plug them with a cap if fluid leaks out and set aside the tank. Unclip the plastic cowl above the turbo and rotate it above the engine bay to make more room to access the turbo. Note the wiring harness that runs with it. The VGT actuator harness can be disconnected and the plug set aside for now. The center section of our air intake can be removed from the engine, along with its PCV port that attaches to the cylinder head. Loosen the hot side tube at the turbo and intercooler connections and pull the tube from the engine bay. At this time, we also loosen the up and down pipe connections from the turbo. We then continued to pull the hot side piping. Next up, the oil feed line can be disconnected from the top of the turbo and below in the engine valley. Then pull the line from the engine. The 3 bolts that hold the turbo to the pedestal can be removed in order to pull out the stock turbo. Now the 4 bolts that attach the pedestal to the engine can be taken out and the stock pedestal can be removed. At the oil feed line in the engine valley, we installed the supplied fitting and hold down clip for the new oil feed line. Place grease or a dab of oil on the fittings O-ring before installation. Position the new pedestal in the engine valley and lightly tighten the clamp between the up pipe and the pedestal. Then tighten down the pedestal to the engine with the 4 new supplied bolts. Once it is tightened down to the engine, you can then fully tighten the up pipe clamp. Install the drain pipe to the turbo with its new gasket so it is ready to drop into the truck. Before dropping in the turbo, bend the drain line to line up its port. With the drain pipe installed and the turbo in place, bolt the turbo to the pedestal with the 4 supplied flange bolts. Now to clock the turbo to the correct position, loosen the cartridge bolts and turn the turbo inlet to the correct location. Then retighten the cartridge bolts. The oil feed line can now be installed and tightened to the turbo and valley fittings. Attach the downpipe and clamp to the exhaust port of the turbo, then tighten the clamp. The coolant tank can be replaced along with its lines. The final step is to remove the VGT actuator from the stock turbo. Plug it back into the harness under the truck and tie it out of the way. This needs to be attached so that the ECU doesn't throw a check engine code.